Peace, peace. What's going on, brother Andre? What up? Love me, fro. I see people are awake today. Of course, it's Thursday, so why wouldn't they be? Trina, I'm going to try an evening session one time soon to see how that goes as well. If my schedule permits, I'll be able to try to pop that off one day. Yeah, sometimes you got to take a day off from that plantation. All right, so looks like we got a good amount of people here so far. So peace, Gene. I'm gonna start this off. All right. Today's lecture is Psychonauts-Liber, Nicht, and Left Hand Path. Basically, Psychonauts is related to chaos magic, and Liber Nicht is chaos magic on a left hand path. There is a difference, and we will get to it. But first, let me just go over some basics when we're dealing with chaos magic, and then I'll show you the difference between chaos magic, the regular form, and chaos magic on the left hand path. So first of all, let's start off. Now, what is one of the most important keys or tools to sorcery, to magic, to any of your practices of that nature is belief. I don't mean belief as in faith and belief, meaning faith in some spooky, unforeseen, unknown thing. I mean belief in your own power and your own ability to manifest and do things and accomplish things. Second step is unlocking your mind. One of the best tools to help unlock your mind, as many of you know, is meditation. However, there's different levels to meditation, and one of the most lethal and important forms of meditation that we utilize in the left-hand path is introspective meditation. This is where you take more of an inward journey and more of an active, not passive form of meditation. Passive form is when you sit there, let thoughts cross over, pass through, and then you just kind of let it go and never deal with it. In introspective meditation, which is used mostly on the left-hand path, thoughts come and arise, and you confront those thoughts. You confront the issues and the problems and the behavioral issues and things of that nature, and you learn to master those problems. But you learn to find the root and the source of those problems, because that's where you have to go to control and master those problems. All right, so level 3 is opening your mind's eye. Some call it the third eye, some call it the pineal gland, etc., etc., etc. This just means having more of an inner awareness and tapping into your psychic abilities of intuition, clairvoyance, telepathy, things of that nature. Some of us have it naturally. Some of those things there. If it's there, great. It's learning how to enhance it even more. That's some of the things that we're going to be going over when I start this coven, and when we start these individual classes for the coven. It's going to deal with these different levels we're discussing today. The fourth important part is, how do you create your own program? Creating your own program is essential to working this level of magic. This in itself takes a long amount of time, because in order to do that, there's more work that has to be done on an inner level. So these are some of the important steps. So how is this? I'll just deal with those levels right now, but how is this different, or how is this worked upon on the left-hand path, since this is what I work and some of y'all work in the left-hand path? Liber Nicht is practical magic for those independent or individuated beings. Okay. This is a pledge I'll give you an example of. I pledge allegiance to myself and only to myself and anyone I choose as friends. I honor and respect myself and those I choose to honor and respect. There is one mind, which is my mind, controlling one body, which is my body. I'm an individual, and I have unity within myself and those I choose to have unity with. There is chaos, but I control the chaos. I am not controlled by the chaos. Now, that is an affirmation that can be utilized. You can create your own to empower yourself to be that independent being, that individuated being, to be the master over yourself. Who are the elite of this planet? The elite are not the money makers, the corporations, and things of that nature. That's an illusion. It's an illusion that many people get trapped under, because they utilize their corporations to control the media. As you know, AT&T just bought Time Warner. Again, now we have these mass conglomerations of corporations under one umbrella that they can control and influence you from cellular phones to the movies that is being put out. All geared to control your mind. Okay? That's not the elite. Those are just the people who are trying to control you, because Their main project is to control your mind. And if they already had you controlled, why would they keep putting out all these programs and medications? And notice how there's drugs every other day, new commercials about everything from eczema to this or that. All of that is done to keep you medicated as an individual and as a group of people, to keep you as a slave, period. But they're not. The elite are those that are awake, inner awake, can see their inner self and learn how that affects the outer self. That is their fear of those individuals waking up, not groups of people, not organizations, the very few who wake up. Elite are those that are awake. It is based on this alone. And it has nothing to do, although they portray this, has nothing to do with race, past religion, or sex. It's we against them, the awake versus the asleep. And many of us know people who are asleep. Some of our own family are asleep. Some of our own friends are asleep. Hell, it could be even your own mate, your partner, your husband, wife, your boyfriend, girlfriend that's asleep. And you battling to try to wake them up. They may never wake up. That's a realization you must make within yourself. All right, so let's go back again to the basics. I covered some of the levels. What the hell is magic? According to Crowley, the science or art of causing a change to occur in conformity with your will. For some, it is using your will to change the outcome and events of your everyday life. It can be argued that it can be argued if this were true, then anything we would do would be an act of magic. An act of getting out of your bed or turning on your TV would be magic. Meeting a woman or getting dressed up and looking nice for people would be a form of magic. No matter what you do, it is a magical event if it is something you yourself willed to action. Doesn't matter how simple or complex, it is an act of magic. This is something I've discussed on videos before. This is something we discussed on the now old show, Awakening Universal Minds. It doesn't always need to be about pulling out the altar or going in front of an altar and props or shouting out an invocation or evocation. There is so much more to doing magic than just that. It becomes much simpler when you realize that it's not all of that pageantry all the time. Every conscious act is a magical act, including the act of reading, writing, poetry, singing, dancing, etc., etc. There are three basic types of magic which can be utilized to achieve your will, which are low magic, sorcery, and high magic. Some of y'all have asked that question before, so I'm going to answer some of it now. Low magic. What is low magic? This is the kind of magical practice one may find themselves to be pretty good at prior to learning the definition for it. If you understand what makes a man crazy, for example, females, if you understand what makes a man crazy for you when you wear something and you intentionally wear it again and again to attract a man's glance or men's glances, if you're a female and you love women, then women's glances as well, you are using a form of lesser black magic. In a way, you are invoking a result, your will, to manipulate the objective universe by mind and personal talent. It's not all the rituals in front of an altar. Sisters, if you dress nice and you know it's making a dude desire you more and you keep doing it because you want to break this dude down, you want this dude to come over and speak to you, whatever the case may be, or this female to come talk to you, that is a form of lower magic. It is called seduction. Using your sensuality, using your looks, which are natural abilities, natural attributes, and things you already have. You're enhancing it by trying, or not trying, but actually succeeding in seducing someone. Men, you do the same thing. If you dress up, you go to a spot and you know there's a certain female there, and you come looking all nice, you come all shaved up, clean cut, trimmed up, whatever the case is, and you walk in there and you know this female's there, and you keep coming back at a certain time and you're wearing certain nice things, you're trying to attract that female to you. You're using the art of seduction. It's a lower form of magic, but no doubt it is magic. You don't have to go in front of a ritual, in front of an altar and do a ritual every time to get some man or woman you desire. You naturally, a lot of y'all are attracted to magic because you naturally have these gifts and abilities. I know, because I can feel it from some of y'all, even without talking to y'all, even without emailing y'all, even without conversing on the phone or seeing y'all through Skype. I know, because I can feel it from some of y'all, is naturally a part of who you are. All you're learning how to do is how to enhance your shit even more, how to make it even stronger. And some of y'all know this. That's why you're smiling right now while we're talking. Well, while I'm talking, y'all typing in. But this is something you naturally do. Now, what is sorcery? It is black magic, but it is a ritual working to send yourself or your true self's intent into the future. Meaning it is something that you're working on for a future result to happen and manifest the way you want in the future. This can range from being as simple a working as chanting a supposed lover you seek, chanting their name over and over above a lit candle. It can be as complex as an all-night long ceremonial sex magic rite. So it could be either or even more what you add to it, whatever the case may be. This is sorcery. When you want a future a future result to manifest and you put your intention out, that is sorcery. And then there's high magic. High magic is not something a lot of people work. For one, fear is one of the things that sets in when they hear about high magic. High magic is, lack of a better term, possession, which is invocation or evocation of dark deities and demons, would fall under the category of high magic. Possession, this is where you willingly allow yourself to be inhabited by a demon, dark energies, dark spirits of your choosing. One should be clear of their intent when such an act is performed. Set the ground rules of how you plan to interact with the entity. It doesn't matter if it's a creation of your own mind, because if you can convince yourself that it is real, it will be real enough. Evocation, calling on a deity of your choice for insight or information. Make a quick note to yourself, however, that you are in control. Deities do not exist other than what ones you've accepted and allowed to accept within your circumference, being from the collective unconscious mind that created it in the first place. So remember that important point. Now, some may ask, well, I thought in the left-hand path, we don't do possessions and things like that. It's all in the individual. Walking the left-hand path is an individual choice, what you choose to do or not to do. And it's not a set, prescribed rules and guidelines for what you do or not do. For example, for some left-hand path magicians, they think that taking in anything that distorts your perception and interferes with your clear will and thought could equal surrendering to something beyond or beneath you. However, if you have the confidence and the power, you can allow possession to run its full course for whatever benefit you're seeking. but always remain in control. Whatever you invoke within you, you have to always remain in control. You have to always remind yourself that you are the master over whatever you've invoked. Now, the more you practice any of these forms or all of these forms, the more your level of confidence increases and your personal power increases. So, master all of these levels, and you will notice how people begin to notice you when you're in public. Notice how people see you differently when you walk into Starbucks. For whoever y'all drink Starbucks, it's like everybody's looking. It's almost like you're in a scene of a movie where everybody just stops what they're doing and looks at you. I know some of y'all have experienced this. You're not crazy. That just means you're working your ish and you're becoming more powerful and confident in your personal power. So people look at you because you've magnetized yourself. You've drawn literally a circle of magnet around you to draw people's attention to you. It's not a coincidence this happens. It's because you've magnetized yourself, your energy, your sexual energy. You've ever heard the animal magnetism? You've invoked that quality within yourself, improved it and strengthened it. Now you have the confidence that you can accomplish anything. Your personal power increases. So the key to this, though, is understand, if you already know what people want to see in you, dress the part. Meaning, if you know, let's say you're a woman, right? And you know there's a particular dude that's just been just checking you. I mean, homeboy just zoned in on you. You know what he wants to see. You can, and I'm not talking about extra sexual shit right now. I'm just talking about regular level introductory stuff as far as what the person wants to see. Dress the part. Be that seductor. Seduce them to the max. Then do what you will with that situation. That's utilizing your low talents. I mean, that's utilizing your talents of low magic. You can cast a sorcery spell and create a servitor, a demon slave, to visit those you wish to compel to do your bidding. This servitor can whisper your name and desires into that individual's ears. All right? Follow up with the meditation the night prior to the meeting, seeking yourself walking through those you wish to enchant and over those that try to stand in your way. Work in high magic. So now, if you believe in anything, does magic work? Yes. If you don't believe in anything but yourself, does magic work? Hell yes. Okay? So remember that fact. Magic has been useful for a long time. Men and women, ever since we wandered the earth, magic has existed. Since the earliest days when cavemen painted their kill on the walls of their caves or in their different areas to assure a catch from a hunt, man has been wired to make a connection to the other side. Many different traditions on all corners of the world think they have the right formula, trying to crack the codes of the gods. Many of them choose to answer to these gods. Others like to tell their gods they call to do their bidding. All the diversities have proven with equal success that magic works, or is at least believed to work, whether through an act of prayer or by the angst-fueled will of a Satanist. We are all tapping into something beyond complete human understanding or perception. Liber Nicht is dedicated to those who choose to walk on what is often called the left-hand path, and the magic within is intended for that purpose as well. So on the left-hand path, you have to, one of the golden rules we stand by is experimentation. You cannot be afraid to experiment on this path and try many different systems to see which best works for you, gives you the greatest results, but you have to be able to experiment. Now, how does working this chaos magic and this magic, these different levels of magic, how does it work living on the left-hand path? Once you come to realize that you are a god and that you truly are the only force that can change the course in your life, you will understand that yes, it is your will and it shall be done. No prayers to a higher source are going to bring you anything unless those prayers are directed towards the true self within. You have to activate a part of your being into taking action and making your desires become real. Many of us, it's an important part here, many of us were raised as God-fearing Christians, Muslims fearing Allah, some small group Hebrews, and Yahweh, or whatever you were raised in. We always had or were raised with some kind of fear for some kind of god, gods or goddesses, deities, etc. You have to eventually decide if you're going to walk this path. You have to decide that you have to reclaim your life and your own identity. You have to be able to overcome the ways of guilt and fear that comes with disconnecting from God, gods, goddesses, etc., etc. You have to be able to desensitize yourself. If you're not willing to do that, then you'll always have a problem in your results, meaning you will always be going back to a default, and that default mechanism will be your programming. Whatever program you were raised in, whatever religion, whatever culture, nationality, ethnic group, whatever the case, you'll always go back into that default programming, and that will help, believe it or not, that will help dictate your results. Because no matter how much you think you've broken the programming, there's more programming still within you that will bring or come up to the surface and allow you to either manifest or not. So how do you prepare yourself to walk this left-hand path and work this magic? First step, train yourself not to fear death, but embrace it. Let me say that again. Step one, train yourself not to fear death, but embrace it. A lot of people spend a large portion of their life afraid of death. They do everything to avoid death. They do everything to stop the onslaught of their eventual death. So, how do you break that? This is where necromancy comes in. As you already know, I work a lot with necromancy. The more you embrace the aspect of death, the more you make your communication or contact with the spirits that have deceased, the more you prepare yourself for the eventual death. You embrace the fact of death. I don't mean, people, that you start dressing all morbid and corpse looking, walking around like you're already a zombie. That's not what I'm talking about. No. Okay? That's extreme stupidity a lot of times. Now, if you choose to dress like that, that's your choice. I'm just saying, sometimes that stuff is extreme stupidity. All you have to do is work with death, communicate with death, speak with death, and you start to embrace death and understand it. And death will not hold fear over your life as much. And once you overcome that fear of death, you will accomplish more in your life than ever before. Some of you all have already embraced this or overcome death by having a near-death experience. That near-death experience has propelled you or fueled you to accomplish more than ever the things in your life you desire, want, or need, because you understand death through that near-death experience. So you celebrate life. You celebrate life. You understand life more than ever because you know death will find you soon enough. So you work extra hard to reach and accomplish and fulfill your goals, your desires, wishes, and needs. Number 2, another very important step walking this path. Be your own person. The world as we know it is deteriorating around us as we speak. And it can be too easy to just become lethargic and give in. If we let the constant bombardment of advertising, of TV, radio, internet bombard us, consume us, then we become nothing more than slaves, zombies, and consumer devourers. So how do you do this? How do you start to question if you're really being your own person? Ask yourself simple questions. Like, what are you wearing? Did you buy that sweater because everyone else wears it? Or you saw it in an advertisement, you saw it on a celebrity? Are you really wearing that because you really genuinely like it? Now, the first thing is your mind's 9 times out of 10, your mind is going to convince you that I like this. So that's why I got it. Listen past the mind, the first mind, and listen to what's really, really being said. Because in there is where you'll start finding the truth. If you're doing things because you're really programmed or you're choosing to. What about the shows that you watch on TV? Some of y'all watch TV. There's nothing wrong with what the hell you do. On the left-hand path, you do what you do. But the difference is you question everything you do to make sure it's something you're choosing to do or something you're being programmed to do. So what shows do you watch? Are you really enjoying that show? Is that show feeding your mind, or is it just feeding another bad habit of yours? Instead of watching TV, sometimes why not try discovering a new talent that you have yet to discover? It could be writing poems, poetry. It could be playing an instrument. It could be dancing. It could be DJing. It could be traveling. It could be anything. Try discovering that part of yourself as well. And you'll start to break more of that programming. Number 3, experiment with magic. If you have experience and knowledge with utilizing magic, then use it. Don't just read a stack of books on one subject or many subjects of magic, you have to be able to apply what you've learned. I know a super amount of book readers, and probably some of these book readers couldn't even put a ritual together out of their own creative mind, because they buried their minds so much with other people's opinions, philosophies, thoughts, how to work this, how to do that. They don't know how to do it. Be able to experiment with magic from your own creative mind, utilizing your own creative mind to create a ritual. Try this. Here's a homework assignment for some of y'all, if you choose to accept it. Create a ritual by next Thursday. Create a ritual from beginning to end by next Thursday, and then analyze that ritual and see how much you've been influenced by other people's rituals, books, or things of that nature that you've read, and how much of it is on your own. It may seem like it's easy. This may be difficult for some of y'all. It seems like it's easy, but it may be difficult if you're honest enough with yourself. Homework assignment for next Thursday is create a ritual and then study that ritual, analyze it, see how much is really yours and how much is it influence or a part of programming from someone else's. And then I'll ask y'all next week, our next live session we have next week, if you're honest enough, we'll see what you discovered. The next step. Two main parts that you must understand walking the left-hand path. The deification of the self and the antinomianism. What is deification of the self? It's attainment of an enlightened or awakened independently existing intellect and its relative immortality. That's the individuated consciousness that seeks to break from the collective consciousness and collective unconsciousness. The deification of the self. And antinomianism is going against the grain of their culturally conditioned and conventional norms of good and evil, religion, traditions, culture, etc., etc. It's going against the grain. Now, for using chaos magic, I use chaos. I am not the chaos. Understand that. Since the Osirian or Osirian times in Egypt, Kemet, mankind has been for the most part under the assumption that God is the master and that people are the slaves or servants of God. In Islam, they're servants. Abdullah or Abdullah simply means Abd, servant, Allah, servant of Allah. You're literally a slave to Allah. As a chaos magician, there are no rules. You can call on gods if that's what you accept or believe in, and demand your devotion to them, the gods that demand your devotion to them, and you get the results you need. Then you discard those gods or goddesses for another one that is appropriate for the focus of your next step in your personal work. Or you can emulate a stronger, darker being like Set, Satuh, etc. That is an example of self-satisfaction and perfection to break away from the herd. Or perhaps the real goal is to work with no God at all and realizing that you are the ultimate God, the only God in your life, and instead you choose to create servitors to do your bidding, existing as your own God. So you have to be able to go deeply within and find that part of yourself to be able to deify yourself as that God and to ask yourself, am I really being controlled? And this programming still holding me down? Is this programming still deeply within me? Chaos magic. Chaos magic simplified. Chaos magic is a tool or technology which allows the magician to get required results by simplification of the process, intended to be a magical system that can stand on its own with no needed belief model. Chaos magic does not mean that your life should be out of control and without meaning or direction. What has been lacking in the practice of chaos magic and manipulation is that the idea of being separate to the nature of the universe and your own keeper makes for a much more fulfilling existence, simply because you are calling all the shots and not some eye in the sky that's making a list and checking it twice. The model, nothing true, everything permitted, leaves the door wide open. Sure, you can be a magician that digs for your food through trash cans, or you could be sporting a new Lexus. One has to remind themselves that while the laws of the universe means that hard times may come your way, you can shrug them off and blame it on the planet's alignment, which people tend to do instead of taking responsibility for their own crap. Or you can enjoy the life that you're living, take a ride with that life, and take the good and the bad as they come. Always come out fighting. Life is worth fighting for. Chaos magic is like a system of shamanism, since most of the techniques and the results come about by experimentation. Some of the best magic you will perform will be the ones you create for yourself. That's the key. This is why next week's homework is create a ritual for yourself and then study that, analyze it to make sure it's really mostly from you or is it influenced by other people's stuff. Chaos magic is the ultimate system of magic when used in conjunction with any belief model. However, and what we're focusing on is using chaos magic on the left-hand path. But there is no rules to convince yourself if it will work or not, other than doing the work itself. Then you will see if it works for you or not. Chaos magic is a system that is perfect for self-initiation because it is so adaptable to your own needs and desires. It is a system that is really impossible to put down in words because it is very dynamic and always changing. As fast as your mind can come up with experiments to plunge yourself into, there will be more that keep coming up into your mind of what to do and how to utilize it, how to tweak it, how to alter it. Chaos magic has no dogma or rules except for the ones that you choose to impose on yourself. Creating order out of chaos. Realize that a pet, chaos, is a factor in all things. A pet, for those who may not be familiar, is the snake or serpent of chaos in Kemet, ancient Kemet. A pep is a factor in all things. Always expect it to manifest at any time. It could be your broken windshield. It could be a flat tire out of the blue. It could be a broken condom for some of y'all, or whatever else. Knowing that a pep exists, realize that it can assist you and your will if you learn to control the chaos within your personal life. Repeat to yourself. And this comes from Peter Carroll and Liber Null. He or she that is doing his or her true will is assisted by the momentum of their workings. Or as Peter Carroll says, They work the momentum of the universe. Plan a goal. Start easy the first time. Break down what needs to be done. Write it down and read it every couple of days to keep it in focus. Prepare for a possible negative, positive scenario. Take action. Escape stasis. What is stasis? Stasis. That is the number one enemy of Set Satuk. Stasis is simply not doing. A state of inactivity, a state of no movement, motion, progression. It is simply that. So, avoid stasis. Okay? Be active, make it happen. And when successful with a ritual, do it again. Some people do a ritual, get success one time, and they stop. They think that's it. Oh, I don't need to do it again. Yes, you do. Keep at it. Keep making your rituals even stronger. Some rituals you should do 3 times, sometimes, whatever times. Keep doing it over and over. Even if you got success already, keep doing it over and over till it becomes second nature. All right, so remind yourself that from time to time that just because you're victorious in a given situation, you cannot surrender to the moment. In order to continue manifesting, you have to continue working it through. You can take a moment and feel proud of your accomplishments, but quickly get back on that bike, start pedaling to the next victory, to the next accomplishment, to reaching that next goal. Don't sit there too long, get cocky now, and be like, "Yo, I just did this. This shit manifested. I'm the super sorcerer." No, because the minute you do that, stasis can come in, and that period of inactivity is when chaos comes in and wreaks havoc in your life. That's because you're not being active and pushing along to the next victory, to the next accomplishment. So that stasis opens the door for that chaos. And it catches people off guard and smacks them like a smack out in the street you didn't expect. With success, and now me personally, I found that when I reach success, sometimes that success doesn't come out exactly the way you painted it in your mind. It doesn't come out exactly the way you wanted it. It may come out a little different. It still was success, but it wasn't exactly the way you wanted it. You study and analyze that, and you learn how to tweak it to get even more of exactly what you wanted. But always remember that there's going to be times you don't get it exactly the same. That doesn't mean you didn't accomplish or reach victory or success. It just means you have to learn how to tweak it a little more. What is the secret of self-perfection? The more you live, the more opportunities you have to become godlike. The more you live, the more opportunities you have to become godlike. Here's a secret. And it's not so much a secret, it's just a working pattern. It's almost a mathematical formula. Breakthrough times momentum equals success. Breakthrough times momentum equals success. Breakthrough. At times, one can become victorious without even trying. But as it is happening, there's a certain awareness that it has happened once. Therefore, it can be done again. Those are the moments where you'll feel the most alive, and it fills you with a lot of energy. Momentum, best described as a snowball effect. Once you enjoy a breakthrough, you are filled with more confidence to be able to make more things happen in your life. It stimulates other parts of your world and pushes you to empower yourself, to go further, to use your willpower, to continue bringing that success. So, how do you utilize this momentum? If you're lacking or lagging behind in certain areas of your life, there's a couple things you could do. Go back to a time when you were successful or something you accomplished that was successful. You recreate that in your mind, and it may jumpstart you to keep pushing for another breakthrough. If that doesn't work, evaluate your life and ask, where should you be? Be honest with yourself. Are you where you really want to be? Then you go out, set some goals, and then you go about trying to accomplish those goals. Left-hand path, chaos, magic. As we discussed self-deification, an individual awakening of the self and existence separate from the collective universe on one's own terms. Let me say that again. Self-deification is an individual awakening of the self and existence separate from the collective universe on one's own terms. According to the accepted chaos paradigm, we are all a part of the random collective. However, that's according to traditional chaos magic. From the left-hand path perspective, you have to understand, using, like, for example, one of the myths of Set, who slayed a pet, which is chaos. We are, in fact, an isolated intelligence which exists separate from the chaos of the objective universe and can, in fact, manipulate the infinite possibilities of chaos rather than to surrender to them. Understand, you're not a slave to chaos. We all have chaos within our lives. We all have internal chaos. You do not have to be a slave to them. You can be like Set. Learn to master, become that individuated consciousness, the master over self, the God over yourself, and you learn how to take chaos and control it and use it for your benefit. You don't have to give in to the chaos and say, oh shit, I can't do nothing about this. Chaos came, Mercury retrograde, and all that dumb shit people want to do. Now, it got nothing to do with that. It's got to do with your own personal chaos, and you not learning how to master and control that. I always have problems saying this, but antinomianism, going against the grain or laws of a system or belief structure, by not accepting all that is presented by the originators of the chaos magic technologies and philosophies. That means, yes, you can practice chaos magic as a left-hand path practitioner. You do not have to accept the way Peter Carroll or anybody else says to do it. Okay? You use it according to your own individual needs and how you see fit. So you gotta really pay attention. That's why I said earlier, see if what you're doing is really programmed by other people's philosophies, systems, and how much of it is of your own. And it's an eye-awakening thing. It really is. So, how many of y'all have ever seen the movie Fight Club? Yes, no, maybe? Okay. So for y'all who've seen Fight Club, here's a little ish to really think about, all right? Here's the ish. All right. You remember in the movie Fight Club when Tyler Durden and his sidekick were off walking behind a liquor store where he confronted the non-suspecting clerk, holding a gun to the head, and the guy was on his knees whimpering for mercy. The clerk brushes up to his personal Grim Reaper. And then Tyler says, "Raymond, you are going to die," while looking through his wallet. "Your mom and dad are going to call Dr. So-and-so to get your dental records." And he looks in the wallet and sees it's a community college ID. "What you study, Raymond?" Raymond answers with tears streaming down his face. "Biology, mostly." Tyler asks why. "I don't know," Raymond cries with eyes mashed shut. "What do you want to be, Raymond?" A veterinarian. "That means you have to get more schooling." Raymond coughs. "Too much school." "Would you rather be dead? Would you rather die here on your knees in the back of a convenience store?" Awaiting his assassination, Raymond says, "No, no." Tyler says, "Get your license. I'm going to check up on you. I know where you live. If you're not on your way to becoming a veterinarian in 6 weeks, you're dead. Now go home." Off, Raymond runs into darkness, sobbing loudly. Tyler explains tomorrow will be the most beautiful day for Raymond's life. His breakfast will taste better than any you and I have ever tasted. Now, why is that important? Imagine yourself in Raymond's shoes. Imagine that moment you're helpless. And then imagine the anticipation you might feel prior to a gun potentially going off in your face. Then ask yourself, have I achieved what I have wanted to in my life? 2, can I go to the grave satisfied with what I have done with my life? 3, if I make it away from this, what will I do to make my world a better place? Ask yourself those questions every day. Every day. As if there is no tomorrow, because in fact, there is no guarantee you will see tomorrow. Stark reality, raw reality, but that's reality. You could die tonight. I'm not wishing any death on people. I'm just saying you could die tonight. You could be in a car accident. You could be in the wrong situation, wrong time. So if you live your life and ask yourself these 3 questions every day, have I achieved what I wanted to achieve in this life? Can I go to the grave satisfied with what I have done with my life? If I make it away from this situation, what will I do to make my world, your personal world, a better place? That is a key to help propel you into working your magic to the next level. That is where we are at today. The game. What is the game? Life can be a game. It can be if you want it to be. And applying it to the ideas of this book, I would say there are no rules in life except to try and win. Win whatever you want so bad that you can taste it. But is it just a little out of reach? Force the hands of chance, like Peter Carroll says, to work in your favor. You can enjoy your life if you choose to. There's no reason why you can't. Stop thinking there's some exterior force controlling the hands against you. Stop thinking there is some evil Illuminati somewhere pinpointing you as one individual out of 8 billion people on this planet. You're the one person who thinks that the Illuminati's after. Delusions, my friends. Delusions. Paranoia. Okay? You dictate this. When you understand this and you understand how chaos works, you understand the laws of nature and how things work and how you really can stand and manipulate the laws of nature to work on your behalf, what excuse do you have, people? There's no excuse. You can enjoy life the way you choose to. It's all up into how you choose to. But if your programming thinks you're limited in the things you can do, then your results will be limited. If you're programmed to think you're inferior, then your results will be inferior. If you're programmed to think that some God, Goddess, Yahweh, Jehovah, or whatever other shit you want to pray to can do it for you, then that's exactly what you're going to limit yourself by. You have the potential to manifest the life you live. This is all a game. This life we live is a game. You either be the master of the game or you're controlled by the game. Unfortunately, most people are controlled by the game and they think they're helpless and they think there's something always out to get them and there's some devil, some God, some shit that really is not true affecting you. Who's really been affecting you? You've been affecting yourself your whole life. The things you don't accomplish is by you not doing what you should. No man, I don't care if they're white, purple, orange, red, green, or whatever colors they are, can stop you from accomplishing it. Because if you really know the power of magic, you could get into that person's mind and convince them to give you that job, if that's what you seek. Convince them to let you into that grad program, grad school program, whether it's medical, whether it's law, whatever. They cannot stop you. You stop yourself by the limitations you set on your mind and yourself. No one can stop you. When you learn that, you will learn how to master this game and you will be the master over your life. Now, there's still much more to go in discussing this Liber Nicht. A lot way to go. So most likely I'm going to do a part 2 to this next week. I'm going to chill right here and take some questions from y'all because I know there's probably lots more to go. All right. So let's take some questions, a few questions here. Matter of fact, stuffed dog, I got that in my terrarium. By the way, terrarium is better than Cody. For those who know what I'm talking about, Cody is obsolete. It's always going down and it's always being crushed. A lot of the servers are being crushed and everything else. Terrarium is more in line, let's say legal, and it works better. Terrarium TV, you can watch all the shows, all the movies for free. I think you go to that, Terrarium TV. I might have spelled it wrong, but if you go in there, you'll see it. So, any questions, y'all? I'll take a few questions before I shut this down. Gotta go work out, eat some lunch, stay on it. Yeah, Mob Draw is good, but I think to me Terrarium is better. Girl, bye. And I'm not saying girl, bye like that. I'm just saying, girl, don't. Possession, if you're seeking to be possessed, then there could be a means to be worried about being possessed if you feel like you're not the master or in control of things. So I'll answer it like that. If you don't feel like you really can master control possession, don't do it. Spirits can play games on you. Serious games. Okay, I done worked with spirits for many years. They have a funny sense of humor, and it ain't our sense of humor. It's really freaking funny to them, but it ain't to us. Okay? So know that. If you feel like you're in control and a master of your life, then possession cannot harm you. You can only benefit from the possession. Remember, it's always what you intend out of possession. Do you want knowledge? Do you want some more occult knowledge, some more wisdom? Then that's the spirit you will work to invoke. If you don't want that, you're seeking something else, you have to make sure you're in control of what it is you're seeking or what result you're seeking. Okay? I choose to be happy. Old fluffy one. All right? When we practice magic, the question is when we practice magic, our focus should always come from we are the creator. Yes, that's exactly where your focus should be. When you practice magic, you have to understand that you now have become the god, the goddess that controls all facets of your life: mind, body, spirit, soul. You control all facets of your life. So you can intend to bring a result, and how strong your creative mind is brings that result to fruition. If you do a ritual and you don't feel like you're the creator and you let doubt creep in, which means you don't really feel like you're a creator because you're doubting, or other things creep in, then you are essentially not going to get the exact result you seek. So work it from you as the God. I know it's hard for some people because we're so programmed and brainwashed to believe there's a God outside of ourselves. There isn't. There's not a God sitting somewhere taking note of everything, punishing you or not. You are the one doing this. You record your own misdeeds or good deeds or whatever you want to call it. And you punish yourself by it. This is why in Kemet, people get this misconception when you go to the scales that someone is judging you. No, you're not. Your heart is judging you. And the heart in ancient Kemet was not the heart that we think of today. The heart was associated with the intellect of that individual. So if your intellect was effed up and you felt guilty about this, that, or the other, what you done, didn't do this, that, then your heart would mess you up. You judge yourself. Essentially, that's the symbolism behind it. You judging yourself. I don't feel guilty for a damn thing I've done in this life. Whether people consider it good, bad, right, wrong, I don't care. That's your personal perception on how you see things. I don't feel bad for none of that stuff. And trust me, I've done treacherous things. So I take ownership over that. And once I take ownership, I don't let it plague my soul so I can't manifest what I want. I am the God over myself. If you want to think you failed, that's fine. See, this is the difference. On the left-hand path, on the left-hand path, we can work magic for other people, but our main goal is to work magic for yourself, to learn to be the God over yourself, and to share this knowledge with somebody who also you feel has the potential to be the God over themselves. It's not about, okay, can you do this love potion ritual for me? Which, trust me, I choose to be happy. It's in the works, but it's not about that, because you could work magic for that person and it still may not come out the way you want. Why? Because their mind is fucked up. So you're trying to work and bring some results for them, but they themselves can't even let that work for them because they have doubt, because they don't believe, or whatever the case may be. So yeah, it can be a failure, but it's not always your failure. It's not always your failure. It's their failure. Insofar as that they don't actually think this can work, they have doubt, and a lot of other things. Yes, JR 3-star seed, or shit, I fucked up your name. JR the star seed, you are the God over yourself, and you should use that mantra every day. You are the God over yourself. You control your life. You create your life. Nothing happens unless it's of your choosing. And Stuff Dog, that is so true. This is an individual journey. Even if let's say, I'm sharing things with y'all and everything else, I'm not sharing it because I want y'all to follow me. Bullish. I don't want to be that. I share it because some of y'all may not have heard some of these things. Some of y'all may need a little more of these things, whatever the case. So you could take and empower your personal life. The more seeds are planted like that, the more people take control of their life. Maybe you could start making a change within your personal life, and you may affect someone else. But at the end of the day, you in this alone. You doing this work for self. Not for self and a million people because I want to save her, but because, see, this is the thing. If you do that, you're going right back to the right-hand path and the religious philosophy of, I want to save everybody. And we're going to save our people. We're going to save this. Bullshit. People cannot save no one. Only you can save yourself. You know how long I've heard we need to unite, let's save our people? Y'all already know my age. I told y'all last week. My parents heard that. And my parents are now hitting the age of 70. They heard that back then. Guess what? My grandma heard that. My grandparents heard that. And we're going to keep hearing that. Because you can't save no one but yourself. All right, so understand that. And yes, when you do magic, you can get results you don't expect because you're not taking into account the mind of that individual. This is why usually before you work magic with another person, you should do a reading for that person. If you know how to do a reading, you do a reading with that person to see where their mindset's at, to see if this is really going to benefit them or not. So always keep that in mind. If you're going to do work for somebody else, try to do a reading of that person. Kiana, I feel you. I've been a loner most of my life. Look, even now, at this age, I only have In my personal life, 3 people that I can actually call friends. The rest are associates. 3 people. And I've walked through organizations. I've been leader of organizations, different things like that. I only have 3 people that I can really truly call my friend. The rest are associates. Most of the time, people are attracted to this path because you've been a loner. You've been a master incognito and not even realize you've been the person and the only one that's been a master over self and the God over self. And that's a lonely path, because when the crowd is going this way, you going the opposite way. And people are like, why the hell is she not doing this, that? Why he ain't doing this, that? See, that's the group mentality that says, let's do it like this. Like, for example, all this bull-ish about Tenacious. Look, I don't give a fuck about Tenacious, the rapper. I don't give a fuck about none of that. Okay? And everybody, and I've gotten emails, oh, what do you think about Tenacious, the conspiracy? Listen, every time somebody dies, especially when it's a melanated person, there has to be a conspiracy behind it. Oh, I don't think he's dead. Okay, here we go now with another Tupac version. Now it's Tenacious. Oh, I don't think he's dead. I think he's still alive. What the fuck, people? You have nothing better to do in your life than to fucking master your own life, take control, and accomplish some shit, and worry about if Tenacious was set up, Tenacious still alive, Tenacious. Stop licking Tenacious balls and worry about your own shit. That's the young generation. If that's the rapper they want to adore, if that's who they want to idolize and make a martyr, so fucking be it. I don't care about that shit. It's got nothing to do with my personal life. Personally, I couldn't stand none of that dude's rap. All that new rap shit is garbage to me. That mumble rap shit is garbage. All this trap is garbage. I can't stand it. So don't ask me about Tenacious or any of this bullshit garbage. I don't care. I don't care that Jay-Z and Beyonce have a video together. I don't give a fuck. What the hell is Jay-Z and Beyonce doing for me? Yeah, they make music you can dance to, move to, but what are they personally doing for me? Not a goddamn thing. Okay? That shit is irrelevant. This is the shit that we were referring to at the beginning of the video. Are you still controlled mentally? Are you still programmed? Because if you're up on Tenacious, you're programmed. If you think it's a conspiracy, you're programmed. But are you brutally honest enough with yourself to admit, yo, I might be programmed. I may still be brainwashed if I care about shit like this that is irrelevant to my personal life. It's not going to change anything in your personal life, whether it was a setup or he's still alive or not. What I do know is the dude was putting his hands on females sometimes, doing shit like that. That shit is not acceptable. I don't care. I'm from the old school, dude. When you put your hands on a female, you's a pussy. You're a straight pussy dude. And you deserve to get your ass whipped. Now, am I saying that he deserved to be killed? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying he was living a life that wasn't exactly always what matched the public life. So don't get it twisted, people. I don't condone people putting hands on females, all right? That's just some punk shit to me. So, yeah, you could glorify the guy and the public figure, but look behind the scenes. Some of these people were living foul, doing foul things, all right? Just remember that. All right, one last question. I'm going to wrap this up. The brother getting hungry, and I need to work out. All right? Going once, going twice, going 3 times. By the time I hit number 5, that's it for the questions. So remember, homework for next week. Create a ritual and analyze that ritual to see how much is of your own and how much is programmed from some books you read or other people's stuff. Remember that. It's a homework for your personal introspection, personal awareness, and personal honesty to see where you at. And once you could do that, then the work continues to go and progress to something else. Girl, let me tell you this. You could do a ritual for someone else and protect yourself from the fucking bounce back, as I call it, the boomerang effect, as I call it. But the question is, why would you do a ritual for someone that's not good? What you perceive as good. Because then you have to live with the guilt that you put on yourself, considering what you perceive to be good or bad, right or wrong. You have to live with the guilty consciousness or the guilty conscience of that. If you did a ritual for somebody who's trifling or whatever. I don't do shit like that. I'll tell you right away, when I do a reading for someone and they want me to do some work for them, I'll be like, no, sorry, I ain't doing it. You living foul? I ain't want nothing to do with that ish. You understand? I'll tell them quick, I ain't doing it. Go find somebody else to work with you and massage your ego. It ain't got shit to do with me, buddy. All right. Katir, okay? As a matter of fact, email me that same question, and we'll do a class on that. All right, we'll do a live lecture on that one of these weeks. But email me that so I don't forget. Here's my email for y'all that want. Email me there. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or want some topics from classes. I already gotten some different topics that people have wanted us. Katir, okay, look up. I just typed it into the chat room. darkoccultist99@outlook.com. All right? Don't be afraid to hit me up at any time with questions, comments, concerns, or topics that you want from a class. I keep these emails and I go back and I'll start picking out the different topics to create lectures. All right? And y'all, when you get on here, just a request. When y'all get on here, put your pictures up here, because I feel like I'm speaking to a wall, and I don't even know how y'all look, but y'all see me. That's not fair. I'm just trying to see how y'all look to get the connection with the people I'm speaking with. Because I don't know if y'all know, when you do videos, you don't know what's coming across on the other side. So you like, well, who the hell am I talking to? All right? So put some pictures up here, damn it, so I can see who the hell y'all looking like. All right, so hit me up. Peace.